What is depression? What are the symptoms of depression? What are the causes of depression? How do I get out of depression? These are some of the questions that every human being needs to know in order to live in peace. Depression is a mood disorder and mental illness that affects the soul, body, and spiritual path of a person. It causes a constant sadness, negative feelings, and loss of interest. It also called a major depressive disorder or a clinical depression. It affects how you feel, think, and behave. It can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. You may have difficulty doing normal daily activities, and sometimes you may feel as if life isn't worth living. Depression is one of the most serious general health problem, as it is the biggest reason that leads to give up one's regular work as a result of disability. Before I go into the details, let me tell you a story about a man suffering from negative thinking and depression. Listen to his words, how he expresses his anxiety and sorrow. I feel that I have no value in society. I feel irritable for no particular reason. I feel sad and anxious all the time. I stay away from activities that are fun. I have lost interest in others people. I feel a loss of pleasure in the joys of life. I suffer from severe insomnia. I prefer isolation from others. I have difficulty concentrating. I suffer from the inability to make physical effort. It is difficult for me to enjoy calm and election. I tend to cry most of the time. I convey the news of sadness more than the news of joy. I wake up in the middle of the night and can't sleep again. Feelings of frustration always defeat me. Feeling of guilt rules over me. I feel powerless to face life's problems. I cry more than I laugh. I feel that treatment does not work with the disease I suffer from. I tend to listen to songs of sadness more than songs of joy. I see anxiety in people's eyes. I feel nervous and upset for no reason. I suffer from food problems such as eagerly desire to eat or lack of appetite. I find it difficult to make the right decision. I feel tired and exhausted. Sometimes I think about suicide. I prefer hearing sad news. I sleep for a long time. I suffer from chronic physical pain. I feel like I have lost the ability to show or accept the emotions and feelings of others. Friends, now I am going to tell you some of the important symptoms of a depressed person. A depressed person is overwhelmed by lack of initiative, stagnation, weariness, and fatigue, as if he no longer has the energy to do the smallest things. A depressed person tends to get angry over the simplest things that he faces in his life, in addition to his tendency to violence towards the people around him. A person with depression does not feel any interest or pleasure during his work, daily activities, or hobbies that he used to enjoy in the past, and he may lose interest in the people around him. It is possible that the appetite and weight of a person with depression may change. As a result, he may suffer from food problems, such as eagerly desire to eat or lack of appetite. A person with depression usually faces sleep disturbances, such as having trouble sleeping, waking up very early every day, or suffering from insomnia or hypersomnia. A person with depression usually feels like a failure, inferiority, or that he is an unqualified or worthless person. A person with depression goes through difficulty thinking, concentrating, and making decisions. A person with depression suffers from feeling helpless, hopeless, and constantly thinking negatively, like a person thinks that there is no solution to his situations and that things will never get better. A person with depression endures self-criticism without reasonable cause, or feeling unfounded guilt about things that are not even related to him, and feeling entitlement to punishment. A person with depression faces feeling sad, frustrated, and losing the sense of enjoying life. A person with depression has a loss of desire to mingle with people and loss of enjoyment of time and activities that were previously achieved. A person with depression suffers from decreased ability to focus and inability to make decisions. A person with depression sometimes faces physical symptoms, such as feeling pain, headache, and irritation in the muscles or stomach. A person with depression suffers from a loss of energy, feels tired and physically exhausted throughout the day, and needs a long period of time in order to accomplish simple things that he was doing in a short time. A person with depression faces dangerous behavior, such as driving a car without attention or practicing dangerous sports, as well as he may suffer from suicidal thoughts or attempts to commit suicide. In short, the future in the eyes of the depressed looks black and insignificant. Friends, now it is very important for us to know why a person suffers from depression, and what are the causes of depression. Let's get started. A decrease in the level of neurotransmitters in the brain and synapses can be the cause of depression. Infection of the brain with some imbalances, which makes it more susceptible to depression than others. Depression is also associated with incidents of hormonal changes, especially related to thyroid disorders and menopause in women. A person usually gets depression when he faces a nervous shock that directly affects a person's mood, such as failure in marriage or work, or the loss of a loved one. Alcohol and drug addiction both usually lead to depression. According to medical statistics, cases of depression among alcoholics and drug addicts are more prevalent compared to those who do not use alcohol or drugs at all or use them very little. At the same time, according to medical statistics, depressed patients use alcohol and drugs more than those without depression. The personality of some people with some characteristics, such as the tendency to feel anxious greatly, low self-confidence, low self-esteem, being overly dependent, feeling of negativity, self-flagellation above the normal limit, the pursuit of perfection in all work, and sensitivity to criticism may increase the risk of depression. Depression is also associated with genetic factors for depression that affect emotions and ways of thinking, such as having close relatives with a history of depression. Sometimes some people with chronic and serious disease suffer from bouts of depression, such as cancer, stroke, chronic pain, AIDS, diabetes, kidney and heart diseases, especially those whose treatment periods are long or the hope of recovery is weak. Certain medications that may cause a person to become depressed, such as some high blood pressure medications or sleeping pills and chronic use of certain medications as well as taking sedatives without consulting a doctor. Many social problems that can lead to depression, such as divorce, children's disobedience, betrayal, or even separation of partners and friends of life, and these are among the most common mental health problems for young people. Sudden loss of relatives or loss of a close family member or friend may be one of the most common causes of sudden depression. Failing to achieve a specific goal can contribute to the risk of developing clinical depression, especially if a person built a lot of hopes and dreams on it and suddenly he fails to achieve it. Isolation and being away from family and friends is one of the causes of sudden depression.
The question now is, how can we get rid of depression?
Here are many tips you can do to overcome depression, feel better and improve your quality of life. The most important of these tips at all is to adhere to the treatment prescribed by a specialist doctor. Therefore, take medications that help the nervous system's work. Take nutritional supplements such as vitamins D, B, and folic acid. Visit a psychiatrist who helps you find out the cause of your depression. And determine appropriate and direct treatment methods. Do exercise regularly, especially walking, swimming, and meditation. Scientific evidence has proven that exercise helps to improve mood and rids the body of negative energy. It is recommended to walk for about 20 minutes per day for people who are not accustomed to exercise yet. Do deep breathing exercises by taking a deep inhale and exhaling slowly. Avoid stress or anxiety as much as possible. Learn appropriate ways to deal with it, and practice relaxation techniques to achieve this. Don't remain isolated from others and remain alone. Loneliness brings you sadness and increases your depression. Build strong social relationships, especially with family members, friends and other people with whom you find comfort and pleasant feelings. Face fears and things that you find difficult to do. For example, you may feel a desire to isolate and not talk to others when you feel depression. Avoid anything that reminds of your sadness or failure. Don't think about the sorrows and pains of the past, but think only of the present moment. Avoid the use of alcohol, drugs, and cannabis in all its forms. Getting rid of worries using drugs is very harmful. In addition to that, it does not rid the patient of his feeling of depression and may even make him worse. Avoid insomnia and staying up late, and try to sleep for 8 hours a day. Talk to someone you trust and tell him about your concern and your feelings of anxiety and depression. He may has the solution and he may help you. Eat healthy food that contains natural substances as much as possible. Eat leafy vegetables, fish, bananas and other fruits rich in various nutrients and contain some important elements. Think in a positive way and stay away from negative thoughts that make the situation worse. Try to provide help and support to others. You can do this volunteering in a charitable work. Try to listen and understand the problems of others. Try to provide anything beautiful to others, as it has been shown that helping others improves the mood of people in general, especially those who are depressed. Try to go out to any place you like and feel comfortable, such as the sea, the river, or the club, or wandering in public places or green parks, so that you can renew your activity and inhale new air that brings comfort into your chest and makes you see the bright side of life. Thank you so much for watching the full video.